Hello everyone and welcome back to XPBET. I'm Erlend, and today we're going to delve into the Bundesliga matches happening on December 6 and 7. Last time we explored some intriguing Premier League match predictions, but today we set our sights on the German top flight. Let's kick things off with Augsburg taking on Bayer Leverkusen. This match is shaping up to be an exciting one, with both teams having shown their attacking prowess this season. The recent encounters between these two have often seen plenty of goals, and I believe this makes the over 2.5 goals bet a solid choice, with the potential for even over 3.5 goals. Bayer Leverkusen, as we know, are in excellent form right now, consistently finding the back of the net. Conversely, Augsburg, although not as prolific as Leverkusen, have a knack for scoring goals at crucial moments. Take for instance, their surprising result against Dortmund a few weeks ago, when they managed to put a couple past them at what many expected to be a tough outing. In such matchups, I always find it fascinating how sometimes the underdogs rise up and make it riveting, potentially ruining accumulator tickets for those who underestimated them. Now let's shift gears a bit and look at Heidenheim versus Freiburg. This is where things tighten up. Looking at their form, and especially how Freiburg has been playing this season, a more defensive setup could be in place. That's why under 3.5 goals stands out as a reasonable bet for this game. Freiburg have been wary of conceding lately, often closing down space and playing a slightly more cautious brand of football, especially in away games. Last week, we touched on how teams at the lower end of the table often adopt a more conservative approach when facing stronger opponents. This allows them to hit on the counter or through set pieces, yet keeping the overall scoreline more contained. It's a pattern I've noticed in several leagues, especially when the stakes get higher through the season. Speaking of high stakes, what about Stuttgart versus Bayern Munich? Now there's a classic fixture with plenty of history, as per usual with Bayern matches. Thinking of high-scoring games isn't outlandish. Their attacking lineup is relentless, making the over 2.5 goals a sensible prediction with great chances for even over 3.5. Bayern's recent form this season has been dominant as expected, but Stuttgart have shown flashes of brilliance that could tamp down the Bavarian assault at least for parts of the game. It's always critical to consider how teams with a reputation for unpredictability can cause quite the stir. Remember, it wasn't that long ago when Stuttgart managed to snatch a surprise win against RB Leipzig with a well-executed game plan. Moving on, Cologne against St. Pauli is another fine fixture this upcoming week. Here again, I foresee a goal-laden contest. Over 2.5 goals is where my money would be, with a strong possibility it could go beyond that with over 3.5 goals. Both teams have demonstrated an inclination to play aggressively, favoring attacking options and often leaving gaps in their defense. We've discussed before how teams at similar table positions, wanting to leapfrog one another, can turn games into thrilling spectacles. It's the pursuit of points at such a crucial stage of their season that drives these kinds of fiercely competitive games. The attacking mindset being spearheaded by St. Pauli's mix of youth and experience could definitely test Cologne's backline. Switching our attention to Wolfsburg versus Union Berlin, this is another encounter with a different tempo. Under 3.5 goals here seems like the correct call. Union Berlin, particularly, have been known to keep things tight at the back with their well-organized defensive structure. Both teams, in their recent matches, have shown tendencies to stifle one another's offenses, leading the game to stay relatively low-scoring. It's this tactical awareness and discipline that often defines matches like these, making them intriguing yet not high-scoring affairs. Let's talk a bit about RB Leipzig versus Frankfurt. Here, the both teams to score, BTTS bet, coupled with over 2.5 goals catches the eye. Leipzig, with their dynamic forward line, are frequently finding ways to break through defenses. Frankfurt, on the other hand, have consistently shown resilience, and their ability to score on the break could test Leipzig's defense. There was an interesting pattern I observed in one of their past matchups where both teams engaged in a tactical battle over the middle of the park, yet found themselves conceding goals due to minor defensive lapses or set-piece situations. It's these nuances that we love analyzing, right down to why a team might suffer from an aerial threat or a swift counter. Talking about Hamburg and Werder Bremen, here I'm sticking with under 3.5 goals, as both have exhibited fluctuating form with moments of shaky defense, but oftentimes tightening up when it really counts. Bremen's last-minute standoff against a superior attacking side just a few matches back was case in point. They showed grit and determination, clamping down opportunities. And let's not forget, over the years, the Nordderby, as this fixture is known, has retained a competitive edge with both teams understanding the importance of the bragging rights at stake. They seem to play with extra caution, ensuring the opposition doesn't get too much of a foothold. Finally, let's wrap up with Dortmund facing Hoffenheim. I predict this is another game where under 3.5 goals feels appropriate. Despite Dortmund's attacking firepower, they often find themselves in tightly contested games against teams like Hoffenheim. Their last outing ended in a scrappy 1-1 draw, reflecting how Dortmund's own aspirations for momentum were thwarted by a resilient Hoffenheim. It's been a recurring narrative for Dortmund, where they're the favorites. But Hoffenheim, with their organized play and counter-attacking threat, is exactly the type of opposition that could keep them at bay, just enough to maintain a lower scoreline. These close-range encounters again highlight the critical aspects of mental and physical preparation from both the players and the coaching side of things. Well, that brings us to the end of today's predictions and analysis for the Bundesliga clashes on December 6 and 7. I hope you've enjoyed listening and maybe picked up a few insights for your own betting strategies. Remember, always bet responsibly and consider the different factors that can influence the outcome of each game. Thank you for tuning in to XPBET, and I look forward to exploring more exciting matchups with you next time.